The census asks your name. It never asks what it means. Every 10 years, the government counts every surname in America, tens of millions of them, and ranks them from most common to least. It is the single most complete portrait of American identity ever produced, and it explains absolutely nothing. No box for what the name meant before it crossed an ocean, no box for who carried it, no box for why. Tonight we open that list, the real one, the current one, straight from the Census Bureau, and answer the question the form itself is not allowed to ask. 10 surnames in the exact order the government ranks them right now. By the last one, you will find a fallen king, a saint, and a Roman war god hiding inside names you have said 1,000 times without a second thought. We start at the top with the name that already led the very first count the country ever took. Number 1. Smith, the most common surname in America, and it was already the most common in 1790, the nation's first census, when it belonged to nearly 6,000 families in a country of under 4 million people. It has kept the top spot in every surname count the Bureau has published since 1990, 2000, 2010, 2020. An unbroken run of well over 2 centuries that has survived every wave of immigration the country has ever absorbed. The trade needs no explaining. The man who worked the forge in a country where every settlement from Massachusetts to Georgia needed one and needed him to stay. What is worth pausing on is the percentage sitting quietly underneath the name. Census data shows that roughly 3/4 of Americans named Smith identify as white, and just over 1 in 5 identify as black. Hold that second figure, because Smith is the smallest version of a pattern that is about to grow with almost every single name on this list, block after block, all the way to number 5. Number 2, Johnson. Son of John, one of the oldest patronymics in the English language, and here the percentage jumps. About 1/3 of all Americans named Johnson identify as black, according to the Bureau's own numbers. That is not a coincidence, and it is not distant history. After emancipation, formerly enslaved people needed legal surnames for the first time in the eyes of the American state, and different families made very different choices. Some kept the surname of the family that had enslaved them, sometimes out of necessity, sometimes to preserve a connection to land or kin. Others chose an entirely new name of their own, a trade, a place, a figure from scripture, and often deliberately picked something ordinary, so the new legal identity would not stand out on a page. None of these were small decisions. A surname in 1865 was the first piece of paperwork a free person had ever been allowed to choose for themselves, and Johnson, one of the most common names in the English-speaking world, became one of the clearest fingerprints left by that entire generation's choice. Number 3, Williams, son of William, carried into America through both English and Welsh lines. Here the number stops being a fraction and becomes almost a coin toss. Government data shows that close to half of all Americans named Williams identify as black, nearly the same share as identify as white. 2 entirely different family histories, sitting almost exactly on top of each other inside one surname. If your name is Williams, the name itself will not tell you which history is yours. Only your own family can, and for a great many American families, that conversation has never actually happened. 2 people can share the exact same letters on a birth certificate, grow up 2 streets apart, and be carrying 2 completely different centuries, and nothing in the surname will ever tell either of them which one belongs to them. The census box simply records Williams. It was never built to hold the rest of the sentence. Number 4, Brown, the plainest name on this list, a medieval English nickname for hair or complexion, worn by whole villages before most people had a second name at all. And here is one more piece of the same pattern. Roughly 1/3 of American Browns identify as black. By now, the shape is unmistakable. This is not a quirk of one unusual surname. It is a fact sitting inside the most boring, most overlooked words in the American language, repeated across the top of the entire list, 4 times running before it even reaches the 5th name. Number 5. Jones, son of John again, but arriving through Welsh rather than English. Jones is so overwhelmingly common back in Wales itself that the Welsh had to invent a workaround centuries ago, nicknaming people by trade just to tell all the Joneses in a village apart. Jones the milk, Jones the post, Jones the bread. And the name did something else nobody expects. In 1913, a New York cartoonist named Arthur Mummond launched a comic strip about a family exhausting itself, trying to match its unseen, impossibly stylish neighbors. He originally planned to call it Keeping Up with the Smiths. He changed it at the last minute because Jones, he said, sounded more common and more interesting than Smith ever could. The strip ran for 25 years and gave the English language a permanent idiom, and it only exists because a cartoonist looked at the 2 most common surnames in the country and picked the other one. In America, Jones itself carries the same demographic split as its neighbors on this list, well over 1/3 black and majority white, arriving here down 2 completely different roads that happen to end at the same 5 letters. If you are counting, that is 5 names in a row, carrying the same repeating story inside the 5 most ordinary words in America. Subscribe now, because the next name breaks that pattern completely, and it belongs to a language that did not exist when the first 5 names on this list were coined. Number 6. Garcia, the first real crack in the pattern, and the loudest one on the list. In 1990, Garcia was not even in the top 15, sitting at 18th place. By 2000, it had jumped to 8th. By 2010, it had climbed again to 6th, and it has held that exact spot ever since, the fastest rise of any name in the modern history of this ranking. Today, roughly 9 out of 10 Americans named Garcia identify as Hispanic, the most tightly concentrated origin of any surname in the top 10. Here is what almost nobody notices about it, not even most of the people who carry it. Garcia does not follow the same rule as the Hispanic surnames sitting right beside it. Rodriguez, Martinez, Fernandez, all of those end in the patronymic easy, meaning son of. Garcia does not. Linguists trace it past Latin entirely, into the pre-Roman languages of the Iberian Peninsula, most likely Basque, where the leading theory reads it as young one or bear cub, which would make it one of the oldest surnames of any kind still in daily use anywhere on Earth. The earliest bearer on record is a 10th century Count of Castile, Garcia Fernandez, ruling 400 years before most of the surnames on this list existed at all. Roughly 9 in 10 Garcias today identify as Hispanic on the census form, but the remaining slice does not, which is its own small reminder that no surname, however concentrated, ever fully belongs to one story. Number 7. Miller. Back to English and to a familiar face if you caught the video on German surnames. Miller is the American finish line for a race that started on at least 2 continents at once. English Millers who never left. German Müllers who softened the spelling the moment a clerk at Ellis Island could not find the 2 dots over the U. Ashkenazi Jewish families arriving at the turn of the century, whose own occupational names across half a dozen European languages all meant exactly the same thing, and who often chose Miller specifically because it was plain, safe, and unmistakably American. All of them funneled into one 5-letter surname. Miller is not one family's story. It is proof that a name can be a finish line for several completely different journeys that never once crossed paths in the old world and only met here. 3 separate ships, 3 separate reasons for leaving, 1 American mailbox. Number 8. Rodriguez. Now the deepest name on this list. Rodriguez means son of Rodrigo, and Rodrigo is not originally a Spanish name at all. It descends from Hrodric, a Visigothic Germanic name built from 2 ancient roots, Hrod for fame and Ric for power, carried into Iberia centuries before Spanish existed as a language. Rodrigo was not a random first name to build a surname from. The last king of Visigothic Spain, the man on the throne, when the Umayyad conquest swept across the peninsula in the year 711 and ended Visigothic rule for good, was named Rodrigo, and that was not the end of the name's story in Spain. 3 centuries later, a second Rodrigo, Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, better known by his title El Cid, became the greatest hero of the Christian reconquest, the man whose legend still anchors Spanish national memory. The same first name buried one kingdom and then, generations later, helped build the next one. That same pair of Germanic building blocks did not stay sealed inside Spanish either. The fame half, H-Rod, survives today in the name Roger. The power half, Rick, survives in Richard. And the entire compound survives untouched in the English name Roderick. Still given to boys today, the exact same name, syllable for syllable, as the king who lost an entire country to an invasion nobody in the delivery room is thinking about when they choose it. Number 9. Davis, son of David, specifically the Welsh form of it. Dafydd is the patron saint of Wales, and his own name traces back through Latin and Hebrew to the biblical King David himself, the shepherd who became a king. So somewhere behind an American Davis stands a Welsh saint, and behind the saint stands the ruler of ancient Jerusalem, a name Welsh parents were still giving their sons more than 1,000 years after his death, half a world from where he ever lived, in a country whose existence neither the saint nor the king could have imagined. And true to form, Davis carries close to the same racial split running through Smith, Johnson, Williams, Brown and Jones before it, another old patronymic that became, after 1865, a common and deliberate choice of new legal name for families writing their own future for the first time. And now the last one. We opened this list with a forge, we close it with a war god. Number 10. Martinez, son of Martin, and Martin comes from the Latin Martinus, which comes directly, with no folklore attached and no argument among linguists, from Mars, the Roman god of war. That is the documented root, plain and unambiguous, which means every single time an American says hello to a neighbor, a co-worker, a doctor named Martinez, orders coffee from a barista named Martinez, they are pronouncing a name built, syllable by syllable, to invoke the god who once commanded the legions of Rome. Nobody standing in a supermarket parking lot is thinking about that. The name carried it anyway, silently, for 2,000 years, into Martin in French and English, Martins in Portuguese, Martini in Italian, and finally Martinez in Spanish. 4 different national coats worn by the exact same Roman god, all of them arriving in a country he never knew would exist. 10 names, the actual top 10 in America, right now, this year. 5 English patronymics that quietly measure the fingerprint of slavery and emancipation, in numbers the government itself has published for anyone to check. 1 ancient Iberian name older than Latin, that overtook 2 of its English neighbors inside a single generation. 1 melting pot name that swallowed 3 separate immigrant journeys whole, and a closing trio smuggling a fallen king, a Welsh saint, and the god of war across an ocean. Inside letters so ordinary you have never once stopped to read them out loud and wondered what they were actually saying. The census counted every one of you. It never once asked what your name was carrying. Now you know, and the box on the form still never will. So put your own surname in the comments and tell me whether the history behind it matched what your family always told you, or whether tonight was the first time you had ever heard any of it. I want the surprises most of all. And subscribe, because next we open the top 10 surnames in Canada, and the list is not the one you are expecting at all.